Hey guys, in my opinion, the two most important things to have a nice lawn are nitrogen, aka fertilizer. To me, it really doesn't matter what fertilizer you use, just as long as it has nitrogen and you do it often. And the second most important, maybe even more important, I think, is a pre-emergent, especially in the spring. Now, this is what I use. It's called prodiamine 65WDG. I picked it up on Amazon a few years back. This is a 5-pound jug. You don't need that much. I've been using it for a few years and I've only scratched the surface. I think they say the stuff only lasts like 5 years once opened, but if you keep it in a semi-climate controlled space, my garage is semi-climate controlled, I don't plan on throwing this away until it's not effective anymore, and I haven't reached that point, so I don't want to throw good product away. But depending on the price, it may be more beneficial to buy a smaller container if you're looking to buy it. I'll leave some links. Also, what I do, not only for this, but all my lawn products, instead of looking at this paperwork here, I go ahead and write down what the application rate is. And this one is 5.2 grams per 1,000 square feet and for 2 months of coverage. So my front yard's 2,000 square feet or just under. I'm going to mix up 10.4 grams per the 2,000 square feet. What you'll need is a nice, fairly nice, doesn't have to be fancy. I picked this up for $10. I just got this. It's not a paid advertisement or anything like that. My scale broke. I didn't want to use the kitchen scale for chemicals, which I don't recommend you do that. And Amazon had this one for $10, same day shipping if I added something else. And I picked up some jerk fitting that I've read crazily good reviews. I'll have to give that a try and do a future video here in the near future. But it has to go into like 1/10 of a gram. And this scale will do that. This one also came with a cool calibration, 100-gram calibration weight, which is neat. So you just put it in a container, you tar it. I already did that, so I wanted it to kind of do its thing because this is a granular. It's like these little BBs. I'll show you. I'll probably make another mess. I just got done cleaning it up. You guys can see that. It's this tiny little granulars. They're not the size of a BB. They're like almost like 1/10 of a BB. And it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much at all. And like when I mixed it up, here I show you, I can do a simulation of 2,000 square feet. I might do another application in the back. So I'm going to put it on there. I'm going to hit the on button, which should tar automatically, which it did. And I'm going to show you guys how much 10.4 grams is. It's a tiny bit, like about that much, almost. A little bit more. 15, I went over. 13. Still over. I'm just going to get it close for this. That's 12 grams. I'll fine tune it if I have to, but that little amount is 12 grams. So that'll do about, what would that be? 2,400 square feet, something like that. So it goes a long way. Little goes a long way. What I do, I put it directly in my spreader, let it sit for a while, and then I shake it around, come back, shake it around. What I used to do is put it in a separate container, and I would liquefy it or dilute it or what do you want to call it? Basically reduce it to liquid. And it was extra steps, extra things to clean. And then when I tried to rinse the container, it would splash in my face. Not great. Wear safety glasses. I have gloves on, latex gloves, long sleeve jacket, old pants that I'll wash. And I have these rubber, I hope you guys can see them, these rubber slip-on boots. I'm not wearing a face mask. It is kind of windy, although it's not really windy. It's just a lot of gusts. We're supposed to get a storm because that's the other thing. When you put an application of this down, it's only effective when it goes down into the soil. And I'll leave a link. I don't know if it's up to a week. It's supposed to have being watered in or rained in. And I look at the forecast, don't put much thought into it. If it's going to rain in the next couple days, I'll put this down. And if it doesn't, we'll see where luck leads me. But that's what I do. The front yard, since it's small, if it doesn't rain in a couple days, I'll water it in. The backyard, I let nature take its course. But in order to be effective, it has to water in, because this is it's a germination blocker for crabgrass and other weeds. It prevents them to germinate, and it has to get in that soil in order to do its work. And it lasts for 2 months. I'll do 2 applications. I'll do one now and do another one sometime in May, which will carry me over into the summer, into the fall weeds. And yeah, so I got it cooking outside. Before I did this video, I shook it up. So it's been sitting for about 10 minutes or so. So I think it'll be ready. I'll give it another good shake. It'll be dissolved. That's the word I was looking for. And I'm going to go ahead and spray it on the front grass. And when I spray it, depending on your sprayer, you got to get the feel of it. You can start off and use an empty, just water in it, a sprayer with just water, and kind of see where you go and practice to get an idea how much water you use for that specific area. What I do is I'll walk fast, I'll go one way, and then I'll go the other way. And that's about 2,000 square foot for my 2 gallons. And there's always a little bit at the bottom where the reservoir sucks up. So my front grass, what I'm doing is about 18 and some change, 1,800 and some change. And I get close where it'll burn, and there's a little bit in there, so close enough for me. So let me put this stuff, I'll leave it out. I may mix another batch. I'll show you guys what I have. But this is my sprayer. It's got a 2 gallon indicator. I had 2 gallons in it, the product. I'm gonna shake it again before I go ahead and spray. The tip I have is not a misting tip. It's more of a, and I don't know if I bought that from Amazon, but it's more of a not a surface, but more of a penetrating tip, like little droplets instead of a spray. And that's what I want, because you don't want a leaf coverage. You want to try to go down into the soil. So I'm going to open this garage, and the sound might get really crazy, so with the wind, but we'll give it a try. I don't have a wind muff or anything on. We'll see how it goes. Not like I'm going to be doing a whole lot of talking anyway. You'll see me do 2 patterns. One way, and one the other way. I'm going to give this a shake. We'll give this a shaky. I still have antifreeze, RV antifreeze in here from winter. This is what I hate about this. 2 gallons, I could have just picked it up in the 2 gallon. But no, get the backpack, I gotta lug it, throw it over my shoulder, and get my back wet sometimes. Got some goopies. Okay, I'm just gonna spray until I see yellow. It's gonna go from pink to yellow. Hopefully I'll see yellow. And this sprayer also has a strainer going into it too, in case there's any clumps of anything. There's the yellow I'm looking for. So I'm just gonna go back and forth, and I'm gonna walk pretty fast. Should have picked up my garbage cans. I'm gonna walk fast, and I'm gonna angle it away, because I don't want it coming at me if it's blowing. And it's blowing, I'm gonna wait a second, because it's gusting, but it's not really too windy. I'm gonna wait a second. I just don't like the backpack on me. I'm gonna do this one, I'm gonna do 4 passes. You really probably shouldn't be doing it on a windy day. Do as I say, not as I do. I grew up with that logic. So I'm kind of angling it towards that. I need to walk a little faster. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start over there. Okay. One of the important factors I failed to mention is when to apply the pre-emergent. Now, this is for cool season grass. The warm season grass is probably completely different, but I'm in Michigan and I use two online tools, and I'll leave the links in the description there. The first one is a website called Soil Temperature. It's by Greencast, and what it does is it shows you where you're tracking on a 5-day average, 2025, a 5-year, and a 10-year average. So it kind of gives you an idea where the temperatures are, where they're tracking, where they tracked in the last 5 or 10 years. The other website, which I use more than anything, is called GDD Tracker. And I think GDD stands for Growing Degrees Days, or Growing Days Degrees. I think that's what that acronym stands for. But this is a Michigan State University turfgrass tool. And if you select the crabgrass pre-emergent, you put your zip code in and you can track where your under early, optimum late is. And from reading on their website, there's a lot of different opinions on this, but I think they all pretty much land in 50. The crabgrass starts to germinate around 50 to 55 degrees, and that's an average, a 5-day average temperature. A lot of people like me like to shoot on the earlier side, the more the 50-degree side, where other people will drift into the 55 degrees. Now, per this Michigan State turf website, and this is a college university in here in Michigan, is they said, I want to say it was 60 to 80% of the crabgrass germination happens between, and you can read it on their website. I'm doing this off memory. It's between 60 and 70 degrees. So you'll see they have graphs, and it's easy to track. They have, again, it's early, optimum, late, and done. So done means it ain't worth it. Don't even apply it if you haven't applied it. And you can look at where you've tracked from years past, but recent. Also, there's like a 5-day, 6-day forecast because it's calculating the weather pattern in your degrees. So it's making some assumptions. And what they're doing is they're targeting early, and optimum is like you're getting the most pre-emergent bang for your buck, if you will. You're getting the majority of the germination you're protecting. So it's saying this is the optimum time to apply. Now, for me, I applied it in the green, which is the optimum. But for me, I like to apply in the early section. So I'd rather be a little early. This application rate that I apply is a 2-month application rate. Now you can increase it depending on your type of grass. You can increase it to get longer. And if you don't put a fall application on, you can really increase it because you're not going to come close to your annual rate. But even if you're going to do the second application for the summer for going into the fall, you can increase it a little bit more. I don't know if it's like 25% more to get you a little bit more coverage. And where I'm going is, if you know rain's coming, you're a little early, you got a good chance of rain coming, why not get the optimal coverage rather than wait? Because life happens, like it happened to me. I hit the green, the optimum, but I prefer the early, and I missed my target. And if you were shooting for the green and you missed the target, guess what? You're going to probably fall into late, because depending on the temperatures, I see this kind of flatline curve like it's going now, but I've seen it spike. Like in 3 days, you already missed it. So just because you're looking at this graph right now and you're like, oh, look, it's in the green for like a week and a half, that's not always the case. Some years, it'll spike right through in 4 or 5 days and it's done. So plan early, plan ahead, get your stuff ready, look at the weather patterns, make sure you get some rain. Now, if you have a small lot or you have an irrigation system that's on, because here in these parts, you wouldn't turn your irrigation system. I don't have one, but if you have a sprinkler system, you're not going to turn it on at like the beginning of March. Your lines are going to freeze and you're going to have a whole lot of issues. So what that means is if you don't get rain, you're going to have to water it in really good, a half an inch.
Or like me, I shoot for that weather pattern where I can say, okay, there's 3, 4, or 5 days rain. Probably going to hit a couple of those. If not, there's some more coming. 5 days later, a week later, and I take the best roll at it and see where weather and Mother Nature lands. So now you guys may have seen me take off the backpack sprayer, and I was looking to see what my level was on my chemical. I was looking at, remember I started off with 2 gallons. Did I have 1 gallon left in the tank, or was it a little less, a little bit more? Now, depending on if it was a little less or a little more, I might walk faster or walk slower. My spray pattern might be a little further away. As you can see, what I'm doing, I'm going a little farther away so I get a broader coverage, because on mine it was a little less than a gallon. So I'm making up that difference on the second pass. So it comes out to that full coverage at that 1,800, 2,000 square foot marker that I was shooting for. The other thing you may see my edges that are wet. I do that for two things. One is crabgrass grows a lot where your edges are. I don't know if it's because of the soil, but anytime you can make sure you saturate the edges is good. But the other thing I'm doing is seeing where I stopped and started. So if you make a pass, you go up and turn around and you go the other direction, sometimes you can forget what you've done already. And if you have a little bit wet on the concrete, then you can actually see. Because I'm not using any kind of color changing additive. You can use that. I do have some and I use it for spot treating. But since I'm doing a broad coverage, I don't like to waste that product. And I can pretty much know where I've gone and just by my footsteps and again the marking on the concrete. So
that worked out perfect. I have just that little bit left, and I know it's empty because it kept on, I could hear the air going in. I have a strip down the fence. I'm just going to use it till it's gone. So guys, that's it. From beginning to end for the front grass, which is again, a little under 2,000 square feet, took 15 minutes. That's excluding cleaning the sprayer out, which only takes me a few minutes. I'm still debating if I'm going to beat the storm and do the backyard. But this is the first application. I'm going to show you guys when I hit the fertilizer, second application, as well as kill some bad grass. My lawn isn't great. I got to put a little bit of more effort into it this year, and I'll bring you along with me for the ride. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Hope this helps you. Bye.